Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to yet another live stream. And I got Mr. Harry Zikos in here. It's again tonight. This is like the fourth time I've had you on now, Harry.
Third or fourth. Sounds about right.
Something like that. But just to give you guys another kind of like overall economic update with not just tech, real estate. I mean, in all honesty, all of it coincides at this point. So, and if you guys don't know already, Mr. Harry over here is a pretty distinguished real estate, I guess we could say expert. Is it okay if we say expert, Harry?
My official title is I'm a real estate broker or associate broker, but I'm practicing in New York. But I'm overall just a geek who has a finance degree and business management degree, who's obsessed with economics and real estate.
Yeah, you know a good bit. You
could say that.
So the title was for the stream that job reports, good job reports, is that a bad thing? And guys, the reason why that is the title is because if we bring your attention to this article right here. So this is from CNBC, and it says Friday's jobs report could be a case where good news isn't really good. Just to cover the bullet points on here, it says in normal times, strong job gains and rising wages would be considered a good thing. But these days, they're exactly what the U.S. economy doesn't need. That's right, you peasants. You better not be getting jobs. Economists surveyed by Dow Jones expects the report will show that payrolls increased 275,000. And by the way, Harry, I don't know if this number, if it's saying that like the average payroll increased by $275,000 or if that's just like something else. But anyway,
I think it's people added to an overall payroll nationwide, which is honestly, it's not that great. It's not that impressive of a number, but you continue.
Yeah. And that was in September while unemployment rates held at 3.7%. So it looks like unemployment rate is holding the same. Excuse me. And then it says an upside surprise could mean a more aggressive Fed that could roil markets. Along with headline job numbers, investors will be watching wage growth closely. So, all right. I think that it's kind of like weird. Let me just give my opinions and correct me if I'm wrong or whatever. Isn't it kind of weird that like to me, okay, this is just coming from an average person's thinking point. I'm not thinking about all the stuff behind it because I know what I'm going to say at this point isn't going to technically be the correct thing. But to me, or to the average person, they would think, hey, don't we want to have people be employed? Don't we want to have people have jobs? Why would that be a bad thing, Harry? Why would that be a bad thing right now?
Well, quite simply, we haven't gotten what the Fed wants from society at large and the economy at large, right? The Fed wants to destroy demand. If you've paid any attention to the Federal Reserve meeting or meetings, the FOMC meeting is what they call it. I forget the exact acronym, but forgive me, it is what it is. Google it.
It's FOMC.
The FOMC meeting. So their interests are reducing demand. The only way you can successfully reduce demand is reducing the purchasing power of the society at large, of the average non-bank entities in the economy. Now, the only way you can do that is literally taking their purchasing power away from them. So far, there's a little bit of a lot of wealth effects from inflated asset prices, first from cryptocurrency, which we know where crypto is. I mean, it's not dead, but it's certainly in a bear market, you could say. We know where stocks and bonds have gone. The 10-year treasury yield on bonds that are maturing up until like 6 months to up to 2 years are trading for the first time ever at a 4% return, which is honestly not so bad. If inflation's 8 or 9%, at least reported inflation, and you're only a guaranteed loss of real money at like 4% instead of, I don't know, losing 40% of values in the stock market, losing up to 80% like some tech companies have lost in the stock market. I digress. Mm-hmm. So they want to remove your purchasing power, the Fed, in order to calm down inflation. This jobs report coming back as an overall good thing is a bad thing because we're having expectations that the Fed is probably going to do an interest rate increase commensurate to the last two increases of 75 basis points, aka 0.75%. Not good news. Not good news if you're trying to buy a house. It's not good news for people like me that shill real estate and sell real estate. Guess what I'm seeing in my inbox on the ground, in the streets?
Let's hear it.
Price drop, new price improvement. Whoop-de-doo.
I'm getting a lot of emails too from like Redfin and Zillow and all that.
Dude, all those automated things are perfect to keep when brokers are sending email blasts out to the broker community and their database. Once upon a time, if you had a listing, you never had to do that. Now all of a sudden, the buyer pool has dried up. Interest rates right now, Josh, are 6 to 7%, sometimes less, sometimes more, depending on the loan product. Right now,
I feel like that's a lot, man.
it's over double as a national average, where a year and change ago, people were getting deals at 3%.
Yeah, dude, my last mortgage was like 2.998 or 9. It was slightly under 3. It was ridiculously low. And I remember when my dad saw that, he's like, you don't know, back when I bought my first house, it was like 8 or 9 or something like that. It might have been 6, I'm not sure, but basically it was like several times higher. And he was like, you have no idea how good of a deal that is. And that was just like 2.5, almost 3 years ago now. So
it's insane. It's insane. And it's going to get worse. I have people that are telling me, I actually did a live stream not too long ago. Feel free to somebody dig into my channel, but I had a mortgage broker who's a loan officer for a company that does mortgage origination for a lot of business in the state of Florida, state of New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, like a nice chunk of the East Coast, we could say. And he has expectations of interest rates probably going, for the consumer product, touching even to the 8s, slightly above. What do you think that does to mortgage demand? If mortgage demand already right now is at a 22-year low, 22 years, that means we have easily expectations of the actual housing market to correct. It only sucks, though, if you have to sell your house. If you don't have to sell your house, you're probably going to be okay.
Yeah, you just be able to wait it out, I suppose, right?
Yeah, you wait it out if you have a really good mortgage and you bought when the mortgage rates are really affordable. Right now, more than anything, hashtag not financial advice, don't sue me, bro. But like right now, what I would tell to people, this is not a time to be aggressive in renegotiating your salaries or anything. This is a time to keep the income that you have. And if anything, add a side hustle to your services or whatever your skills are, because preservation of your purchasing power into a downturn is probably the wisest thing you can do. Oh, Christian Soda's the man.
Yeah, I would agree with that, dude. Because it was like the exact opposite last year, right? And I guess I got a couple points that I could say on that. But real quick, guys, Harry's channel right here, and if you're watching not on live, I guess if you have to go into the comments to click on that. But that's Harry's channel's link right there if you guys can go check that out. But let me get caught up with the chat real quick.
Yeah.
Mr. Cody Moose in the Who says he knows a thing or two because he's seen a thing or two. He's referring to you.
I have.
Break it down to big chimp language, please. Eli says, "What's up, guys?" Christian Soto, good evening. And Christian Soto says, Navy Federal started sending me emails to sign up for Walmart Plus. What is Walmart Plus?
I think that's like their Amazon Prime competitor product.
Ah, okay. Makes sense. Okay. So for people who don't know and people who aren't informed, so why would, back to kind of what you're talking about earlier, just really quick, why would the Fed raising interest rates, how would that affect the average person? Could you explain that?
Yeah, in the simplest terms, it increases the cost of money. By increasing the cost of money, savers are incentivized to save. Businesses are able to get less cheap dollars to invest in their businesses, which then they can go and hire employees, buy equipment, property, plant equipment, inventories, and spend money on advertising to grow their business, to grow their brands. This also dries up venture capital in startup land, which I have a hint of experience in. We can talk about that another time. I've put on the hat as an angel investor once, and so far I haven't gone to zero on it, which is pretty cool, and I've learned a lot. So in essence, it does not incentivize people to invest in the stock market and incentivize people to save money, spend less. And if everybody at the same time in the economy is reducing their spending, reducing their outlook, has fear, that fear and timidness to spend capital and reduce the velocity of money then causes a ripple effect into the economy where companies are earning less. If companies earn less, their stock prices go down. Stock prices go down. They can't do stock buybacks. They can't do employee bonuses. They can't do as aggressive of a 401k matching program. They have to restructure their comp with their human resources. They have to restructure the size of the team and the workforce. They have to restructure their growth plans. And these companies exist quarter to quarter for their shareholders. And it's going to be a bumpy ride. I don't know if it will be an 87 crash or a dot-com bubble crash or a 2007 to 2009 related crash. It's all subjective. History certainly does not necessarily repeat. It certainly rhymes. But we also have something else to talk about, right? Let's look at right now, Deutsche Bank and Credit Suisse have been making a lot of headlines recently.
Yep.
And a lot of these headlines, for anybody who is in the market or at least paying attention back then, I was still in university and just coming up as a real estate agent and being a university student. The headlines are like neck and neck with like the shit that Bear Stearns and Lehman Brothers were saying. Like we may even want to like share screen and like do some quick Googling just to show people, like, it's hysterical. I don't know. It's what do you think? You want to do that?
Yeah. What do you suggest I look?
I don't know. Let's look like headlines of. I'm also going to Google
Lehman Brothers collapse.
Yeah, headlines of Lehman Brothers collapse, because they issued statements. Lehman Brothers statements before bankruptcy.
Here, I got something up. We'll actually look at the entire. Look at the whole results of the Google search. That'll be fun and interesting.
Yeah, because like obviously we don't have all the articles ready to share, but like this is fun to do in real time with people, and it's a good learning process.
Forbes Credit Suisse shares tank as capital concerns spark reminder of Lehman Brothers. Is Credit Suisse the Lehman Brothers of 2022? All right, let's do this one. Yeah, Yahoo Finance.
I like
it's
Yahoo
usually
Finance.
Pretty quick. Me too, man. Me too. Credit Suisse is back in the headlines, and once again, it's for all the wrong reasons. On Monday, the stock plunged to a record low of 3.52 Swiss francs on the back of a sharp spike in the cost of insuring its debt against bankruptcy. So-called credit default swaps, CDSs, now indicate markets and pricing in an implied 23% chance Credit Suisse will declare bankruptcy, and it says in the next 5 years, sparking inevitable comparisons. It may face the same fate as Lehman Brothers in 2008. And then it goes on to talk about the global financial crisis, the GFC of 2008, when the collapse in the subprime mortgage debt market forced Wall Street investors bank giant Lehman Brothers to file bankruptcy. By the way, dude, so I've been hearing there's a lot of recently of those like this more like subprime mortgages. Is that true, or is that just like rumors all on the internet?
Some of it is FUD. You know, people behind a keyboard will say anything just to get clicks in some certain ways. You got to be really conscious of the source of the information. What I will say, so subprime is just like the lesser creditworthy borrower in general. Since this crisis, the last crisis, FINRA regulations and all the various Dodd-Frank acts and stuff like that we legislated to increase the lending standards for the overall banking practices have improved, but they almost don't matter if there's massive layoffs, right? If unemployment goes to like 6, 7, 8%, which is really bad. I mean, right now we're around 3%, and then labor participation is even less than what we would like to see. People are just not incentivized to work because compensation is not as high, which at the same
inflation probably isn't helping that either, right?
It's not helping. People are still thinking that they can go out there and rug employers and like pimp them out and get like a crazy comp, like 50% higher year over year, and like jump from company to company to company. But the smart entrepreneurs and the smart business runners right now know what's happening, and they're honestly like cooling off on this aggressive strategy. If they look, I know people that, well, this is anecdotal.
Yeah, you're right, dude. I've done the same myself, and pretty much like 90% of people in my group have, because full disclosure, like majority of my group, and I'm not speaking just for myself or just a couple people, just like a chunk of them play the game, right?
Sure,
and
you have to.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have to explain any of that to you, but for people out there who don't know, maybe just go watch some videos from like a year ago. I think you might be able to get or understand the point. But anyway, a lot of that has like tailored down or tampered down quite a bit. And like Dude, if you're a developer right now and you're getting like somebody just got a job offer for 205K a year with like a 15K signing bonus and like some other kind of stuff, and like, dude, that's fine. And the guy, he's an older guy too. He's established in life. He doesn't have like I don't think at this point in his life, him running like 2 or 3 different engineering jobs at the same time, trying to like rake in like 600K a year is going to benefit him as much as it would like, probably wear on him because, and he's definitely not going to even bother thinking about doing that now because the situation, because if 1, 2, 3 or the good one gets the plug pulled, well then, that would really suck right now. Right. And since times are how they are right now, chances of that happening, I'm not saying that they're actually like, I'm not talking about the person in particular. Hey, that might happen, but like the chances are overall in general of like you getting the plug pulled on you are higher now than they were like 2 years ago, right?
Yeah, and think about this: if you even if your exit interviews don't really matter, some people don't think that exit interviews matter. I'm certainly not in corporate America directly, but I work with a lot of people that are, because they tend to be my clients, whether I'm representing them on the purchase or sale of their places, or if we're getting a commercial space leased up, whatever the case is. I'm exposed to these entrepreneurs and employees in your space. If you're a new employee, generally speaking, and there's a mass layoff and tech valuations have been getting slashed because money is no longer cheap, okay,
and you're new,
and you haven't really demonstrated your value, generally speaking, you're the first one cut on the chopping block. You're the first piece of meat that's put on the butcher block. And if that's the case, well, then you really got to think, well, how can I secure my position? Well, don't be a jerk. Treat your team with respect. Do what you say you're going to do. Show up early. Don't show up just on time. Do things ahead of schedule. Ask them if there's any other way. Like, be valuable. Huh, what an idea. Do good work. Like this might work in your favor, right? Like obviously, like your audience is pretty intellectual. People who develop software are not challenged in that degree. But this is a good time for being an honorable human being. This is a good time where a lot of old school morals and unspoken codes help. Yeah, buy the canned food. Like, this stuff's cool. I brought this as a prep because this is like, oh my God, I couldn't believe the nutrition, but yeah, stock
it's not bad tasting either, right?
No, it tastes great. I love it. Like, it's helping my gains, but like, no, like, yeah, get prepared, store the food, whatever. But like,
I'm all into that, baby. I'm all into that.
Same here, dude. 6 months store. Yeah, right. You're in Florida. I got 6 months of storable food, and like, I got some gold and silver. Like, I don't give a shit about whatever happens. If the banks go under,
I'll be having a heyday. That'll be it'll be like Katrina all over again. And I hate to say it, but when I was a kid, dude, not going to school for 9 months and not having electricity, just playing outside with your friends, it wasn't too bad. Not talking about the fact that, house damage and gutting out your entire house full of mold in the middle of like 98-degree weather. But aside from that, hey man, might not be too bad for all of humanity for that to happen right now, in all honesty.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's got their eyes looking at Europe and whether or not we're in we're in WW3, and most people just refuse to realize it. That's a whole other thing. But like that also adds more fear and uncertainty into the market. So, it's not a bad time to save money. Sure, Bitcoin and a hard cold storage wallet, that you lost in a boating accident probably is cool too, I guess, for some people. I like the idea of it, but there's
save all of it, man.
Save everything. There's systemic risk everywhere right now. Systemic risk is endemic. And like, this makes you wonder, like, was all this contrived on purpose by a bunch of people with a bunch of alphabet, collaborative, and like, oh my God, are we going to put this all together and usher in a push of the reset button because we just want to play Super Smash Brothers again? Is that what we're going to do?
Super Smash Brothers
on N64, the true Super Smash Brothers on N64, baby.
Dude, well, I mean, kind of how I feel about that. Like, my audience definitely knows. Is it like some one singular entity or group of people that are like have this singular agenda? Maybe, but more likely there's probably like several factions of people all throughout the world who have either similar or competing agendas. And I think right now, or at least in the last couple of years, they've just kind of been at war with each other. And as to what the specific outcome is, right? I think we're literally seeing the manifestation of that via the proxy. Maybe I should have said the WAR word, but whatever. Dude, screw it. They don't. YouTube doesn't like my live streams anyway anymore. So just say what I want now. We're already seen that in the manifestation of that in the proxy war over in Ukraine and Russia, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or at least part of it.
I think I saw something. Tim Pool was talking about something, and he's been shadow banned to a certain degree. His growth is kind of stunted, but whatever. He's doing interesting work, and he was talking about. I literally heard it in my ear, so I didn't see what he put on screen. Basically, the United States, to a certain degree, have made it a matter of national security to be invested in this war in Ukraine. And like, I'm not sitting here saying that a nation being invaded is a good thing. It's definitely disingenuous and wrong, and like a lot of people are dying. But holy hell. Does anyone else feel like we're being dragged into a conflict that we don't really have too much level investment in? At least
we're paying for it too. We're funding it.
The people in society at least don't have the investment in it, aside from the emotional, like, oh my God, that's awful. I would never want to get invaded. Like,
I think that narrative is kind of like going down the shitter too. People are already kind of like,
joke.
Yeah, dude. I mean, back to the whole basic principle of, hey, what about taking care of us first? How much money have we given Ukraine since the hurricane hit Florida? How much money have we given Ukraine?
60 billion, something like that.
It was two different. We gave them two different sums. One of them was like a very large one, and one of them was like a relatively large, but not very big one. But even the smaller one was more money than what Florida got. So that's right. Listen up, my fellow Floridians. That's right, you taxpayers. Your money isn't gonna go back to help you. It's gotta go over there. Okay, who cares about you guys? Let's care about this never-ending conflict going on over on the eastern part of the world right now.
Yeah, we don't care about your insurance policy being insolvent because of too many claims at the same time in the same area by the same insurance company. We don't care about that. No, screw your house. We don't care about your house.
It's not equitable, Harry. It's not equitable enough to help people who had their house lost.
Yeah, no, you guys are just a bunch of ists. But I have some sad predictions that I certainly can be wrong on. Would you like to hear them?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Okay, I hate to say this, but Florida is historically known for very cyclical and aggressive market swings, a lot of peaks and a lot of troughs, very short time spans in between said peaks and troughs. I am wholeheartedly convinced that the majority of the pandemic fluctuations, this crisis and the economic crisis, all crescendoing or happening at the same time, right? A crescendo is like an auditory, like, oh, thing, right? Like all of this happening at the same time leads me to believe, if I'm a chess player, right? if I'm watching the chessboard, right?
If you were a strategic man,
if I were a strategic, perspicacious man. Anyways, if I were this person and I'm watching everything happen at once, okay, we got a war in the East, okay, we got interest rates increasing, we got national debt that we can't afford, 31 trillion, okay, cool. Jobs are being laid down. Okay, interesting. Okay, all this negative stuff, and there's enterprises with loads of cash. Still, like they got reserves. They're kind of preparing themselves. They've already done many stages of layoffs. Startups are not getting funded in their Series C or Series D rounds right now. There's a big freeze in VC funds. VC funds are just like hanging out in the sidelines. Like, yeah.
What do we do?
We're just not going to deploy capital. We'll fund a seed round. We'll give a brand new company a good idea of funding if it makes sense, but we're not going to give these late stage companies with irrelevant valuations to the modern day situation, right? Mm-hmm. What do you think is going to happen in the work from work versus the work from home movement? Don't you think an enterprise who's committed to long term spending, like I don't know, hundreds of millions in offices or what have you, or even on a smaller degree, millions in offices? Don't you think they're going to want to have some of their workforce closer to home?
Oh, yeah.
They're going to go to Mr. Employee A, B, C, and D, whatever. They're going to say, hey, what's up, Sam? What's up, John? What's up, everybody? What's up? Come back. We'll keep your job. We'll cut your salary by a small amount, but you're going to have a job. You're going to be able to put a roof over your head to some degree. But we want you closer to home and come to the office for 3 days a week.
That's right. Come back in.
And then that's it. All these COVID trends reversed, at least to a degree.
We're already starting to see that war play out right now. I think all the places that were kind of like hesitating on whether or not they were going to do it, or have like begun doing it, and they're like, so I gave like a jobs market update last night. It was a really quick stream because again, like I told you before, my computer is like discombobulated all over the place. But one thing I didn't say or hit on hard enough was that there's been this like musical chairs in the tech. At least I'm sure it's in other industries too, because pretty much everyone went remote, right?
Finance,
during the yeah. So there's like been this musical chairs. There's people that actually don't want to be remote. There's people that fucking weirdos. Just kidding. People that actually want to go into the office, right? And obviously there's people that don't, right? There's people that want to be remote. And a lot of the companies that had initiated that, I think a lot of people left. And then also vice versa, the ones who wanted to go back in the office and they're like, yeah, well, we don't have any real estate anchoring us down. We're going to be permanently remote. And people are like, I need to have my office. And so there's been literally like a shuffling of people in their career and just moving around places. And I'm still seeing that like right now. Like I'm still seeing both companies either looking to take on people who would prefer to work either in office or remote. And like, because people moved around, it's been kind of like what seems like a clusterfuck with all that stuff going on right now. So I think we've already seen that going on, and I think it's still happening. And I think like that's going to be interesting too. On to the Floridian topic, dude. Please get the fuck out of here. Go away, people. Get out. Go away. Just kidding.
Give Josh more parking.
Yes, please, for the love of God. I need some parking space, dude. You saw the picture?
Dude, with where you dinged your car? Yeah. Man.
Yeah.
Fucked up. Once I got like my third scratch on my Jeep, I was like, fuck this thing. I don't care anymore. Like,
yeah, just beat it up.
Like, yeah, I'm just gonna abuse her.
Dude, but I will say that it has been very crowded here. It's been very crowded. Like,
it's gonna change. It's gonna change. There's gonna be a reversion to the mean at some point because things can't stay euphoric forever. And real estate is the slowest moving asset class. Real estate reacts to like everything else 6+ months, a year later, generally speaking. And
because you can't just easily like liquidate your house, you know?
It's a very illiquid asset. You know, you can push the sell button on a stock or a crypto relatively quickly, even a bond. You know, you can take your piece of gold or silver, find a dealer spot price plus or minus premium, and then poof, it's sold, right? You can liquidate it. Real estate, you got to hire a schmuck like me, who I'm not a schmuck. But
you're not a schmuck, sir. Not at all.
Thank you. You're too kind. So I mean, you got to hire a broker or put it on market yourself, syndicate offers, negotiate terms, get a contract signed. If they have a mortgage, God willing, the bank doesn't jam up the deal, then you got to like open escrow, all this fun. Like there's just so many freaking stages, right? Nonetheless, so if all this is considered and jobs are at the core, at the foundation of this, if the job market gets scarier and we have a better job market now, meaning inflation will not go down, the Fed wants to sacrifice the economy to a certain degree before re-kicking up the money printer again, because that's a probability of it happening with the crap that's happening in Europe. Like this all kind of seems kind of like, there's like a conductor somewhere in the background and he's like, okay. you bought a house in 2020? That's cute. Come back over here, motherfucker. Like part of my French, but that's what I'm seeing, man. And this literally smells like I was fresh in the business, brand new in the business. This smells like 2009. This literally smells like it. I think New York is honestly probably best weather to handle this because we had the exodus and then we had a bunch of people come back. We're going to see pain in this market to different degrees in different asset classes, whether it's multifamily or apartments. Apartments are going to be chewed up in the lower purchasing power area, like under $500,000. The rich are not going to give a single goddamn because it's generational money.
Yeah.
3, 4, 5 generations of multi-millions in trusts, like the people living in the Upper East Side, they don't give a shit.
And I'm sure the quality of those apartment complexes are like far superior to like a $250K, 300, 400, 500K apartment complex too. Considerably.
And you're just dealing with like upper echelon people. People are in like management, directorship roles, entrepreneurs, business owners. If you own 500 apartments that pay you $1,000 a month, even in the worst case scenario, imagine how rich you are. There's a lot of people like that. You'd be surprised. Everything is owned by somebody around us.
It's
What do we
true.
got? What's Eli saying here? What's your advice to somebody looking to buy real estate?
Eli says, "What's your advice for someone looking to buy real estate at duplex in the next few years?"
Can Eli share what state he is in?
It's a good question. I don't know where Eli is, but before he tells us, what about? Could you give him like a generic?
Yeah, I'd love to. Get bankable if you are not bankable. What is bankable? Your credit score, your credit history. It has to be in order. You have to be attractive to a bank, much like dating, right? To be attractive, you have to have your fitness in check. You have to have your lingo. You can't smell like crap. You have to have some confidence. You have to have some charisma, some frame, if you will. So
this is Texas, by the way.
Texas, even better. So Texas is not going to get it as bad, but they're going to get it because a lot of people from California flew to Texas, and then a lot of them are going to get either dragged back to Silicon Valley or LA or whatever, but we'll see. But Texas also has some of the most expensive real estate taxes in the country. That's where they get you when they don't give you with they get you with the real estate taxes, not the property or, excuse me, not the capital gains or the income taxes like other states do. What I would do, of course, save a lot of money right now. Talk to a mortgage broker in that state. Actually, the buddy that I had on my live stream, I think he actually does loans in the state of Texas. So you can hit him up. You can find him on my live stream history. Talk to him, but ultimately get your credit history in check. Get a considerable amount of cash in the bank savings. If you have any outstanding debt, like, $2,000 on a credit card, for example, pay it off. If you own like only 5 or 10K, whatever the case is on a vehicle, pay it off. Anything that is not like a short-term spending that you'll pay off instantly, like any long-term recurring debt, pay that off. Get your credit score into the mid 700s. 750 is usually like the threshold where it doesn't affect your interest rate when you get a mortgage. So if you're at a 750 FICO score, don't be upset that you're not at an 820. Like 740, 750 is kosher. After that, make sure your savings, make sure your job history, your W-2s can show at least 2 years of steady and or growth within your earnings. Maybe get another job or add another, line of income. Just keep breaking it in and get ready. Get ready. Somebody's going to have pain somewhere at some point within all of this.
People in my building are.
I'm sure they will.
Scoop up one of these, Eli.
I'm sure they will, dude. Especially in real quick. So we'll go to that in a second. Let me finish about his question. You get your money ready. There's going to be pain. Don't be afraid to get your hands dirty if you're buying something that needs a little bit of upgrades in the kitchen or whatever the case is, because that's where you get the best, what's called a wedge deal. So you want to buy something below market that needs renovation, because that's where you can extract the majority of your benefit from the pain that the other person is feeling. I mean, this sounds like predatory, but that's market dynamics. You're dealing with people. Something is worth what somebody else is willing to pay. And if the cost of money is very expensive, you have to maintain a reasonable monthly payment with taxes, mortgage, insurance, and then you have to underwrite what your rental on that second unit comes in as. And then what I would do if Eli is unmarried, for example, and he's single and he doesn't have any children or anything like that, I would take the largest unit, which is what his bank would want him to do. Make sure it's a 2 or 3, 4 bedroom, whatever the case is. Take that largest unit, live in pick a bedroom, furnish the other 2 units. This is called house hacking. It's not a secret. Furnish the other 2 bedrooms in that unit while renting a long-term tenant upstairs or downstairs or the side house, pool house, whatever you call it. I don't know how Texas is. And then get like traveling nurses, like traveling construction workers, or just like advertise short-term furnished rental housing on a short-term commitment where you could charge a little bit more premium for furnished. Basically, somebody brings their toothbrush, suitcase, their home. You vet them. You can run credit history. You could run background checks on them, make sure they're not murderers. Congratulations. You are barely paying for your housing. If anything, you come out of pocket a couple $100, $300-$400, whatever the math works out to, or you're getting paid to own your house and live for free while you're still working. And if you're hanging out with this guy on the other side of this stream, you're probably doing good things to keep your job. So that's how you get ahead in a safe fashion. It's not sexy. It's not joining this $50 a month community because we have 11 methods of wealth creation. Like This is surefire success. If you want to do other things, do it.
Yep. That's good. That's good advice. And Eli, also, you might not be in the nicest place, man. The point of it is you're doing it to be able to make some money, right? And so, if you got to suffer a little bit, you remember my duplex, Harry, it was not in a.
You made money on that deal.
Yeah, dude.
Best thing you ever did was exiting when you did. I hope you know that.
Yeah, I know. I thank myself every day.
I think, dude, you guys you dodged a bullet. You got out right with the top, like the lowest interest rates possible, top of the market. Yeah.
Yep. People in my family were like, crazy. You just bought that thing. You sold it already. But like, I don't think you guys understand like what the whole point of that was. But Eli, the point of that is I was in the middle of like downtown New Orleans. So it wasn't comfortable, right? And it wasn't something that I was doing because I was like, oh, I really love this place. It was literally a strategic task that I did, a short to midterm play to like make money. So, don't if you can find a good deal like that and it makes perfect sense, I would say that's probably a good idea. And by the way, guys, if I look like a pixelated blob right now, my connection just went to like literally 0. So I don't know what is going on with that. But Harry, you yeah. Christian said, Josh, you're pixelating. Harry is crisp. Yeah, because my connection is just garbage because of my building. Speaking of Harry, you've been in this building before, right?
I haven't had the pleasure to actually. I've been a jackass. I have not visited your crib in Miami.
You've been out front though, right? I think
I've driven past it out front. Yeah, that's what. How old is your building,
dude? I don't know, but people back to the thing that we were talking about a minute ago. Mm-hmm. People were like buying units, like single bedroom units in this thing for like $500,000-$600,000 per pop, and it's not like the biggest place ever. And I'm like, you people are fucking nuts. Like, there's no way I'd pay that much for like for something like this. It's a nice building, right? And it's got nice amenities, but like, dude, $500,000-$600,000, you can get a big fat plot of land, like less than an hour from here, and you could have a nice brand new house. And I don't know. I think those people are going to suffer, and if not already have suffered, if not just in this building, in areas like Miami Beach and similar. Would you agree?
I think so. I think a few things, right? Miami doesn't really get the same level of like hellfire from the hurricanes from what I've researched. Like, it seems that they kind of are like tucked away, but like they definitely get flooding. Like every time it rains in Miami, you go to the Instagram account Only in Dade, and it's like, just like Brickell is under like 2.5 feet of water, like near the freaking city center mall. Like what? But one thing I was talking with an engineer who has a owner's rep, like construction management business down in South Florida between Broward County, Fort Lauderdale, Miami-Dade. All these buildings have new recertification rules in effect, especially after that tragic Surfside condo collapse on in North Beach. Was it North? I think it was North Beach, or was it Surfside? I think it was
Surfside, but it's like North Miami Beach area.
Yeah, like definitely not like not South Street, not like Ocean Drive or whatever, from what I remember, or maybe it was whatever. Either way, you get it. That building collapsing and having not met its recertification processes for the concrete and the electrical and the foundation made Florida legislatures go crazy. Every single one of these old condo buildings where you see people selling condos for $100K, $200K, $300K, be very wary, especially if the age of the building is exceeding 40 years or more, even 30 years, be very careful. All of those condos are death traps. If the building financials are not consistent enough to pay for the special assessments,
they're not
to sit there and reapply concrete and re-waterproof, because anything along shorelines with salt water is getting chewed apart. This guy privately sent me a photo. I'm not saying his name, so we're good here. But he sent me a photo where he took like, pretend this is like a chunk of concrete, right? You see this side, but then like through like half of the interior, it was completely hollow. And then over here, it was a layer of paint. Like, I cannot.
Dude, I know. I believe it because I've seen some pretty sus things in like the garage. And meanwhile, I've like, I can't wait to get the fuck out of this place, dude. It was nice while it lasted, but
it's scary, man. Like, if it's a new building built like 2018, like, you're probably fine. But if you're in like a like a 1990s building, a 1980s
This
building.
one's older than that, man.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Like that shit, pardon my French, that stuff scares the living daylights out of me. And that's what stopped me from thinking, oh, I got to rush to Miami. Everyone's down there. The crew's down there. Like, we're going to do all this. We're going to level up and just get gains. And like, no, I was like, chill, Harry. Like, you got good housing. You got your network here. Maybe you could do something in New York. But it's not as rosy as you think in South Florida with these condo buildings and stuff like that. I mean, for $500,000, right? You can buy something in one of those buildings, or like I saw a 4-family in Fort Lauderdale, probably a shit part of Fort Lauderdale. I'd rather buy that thing if I had to buy in Florida. And that was a year ago, granted. So everything's changing. This is not a good time to rush into the market. I don't think anybody has to buy anything, but your rental prices right now are through the roof because of that. So when people aren't buying, rentals see a spike, and then eventually that's the blow off top. And then once you see the layoffs occur, if they do occur like we're expecting, layoffs happen, rental prices correct, and then the Fed's going to say some shit like, oh, look at this, look at that, a liquidity crisis here, we got to print money, and then that might be the time to maybe deploy some capital. When you see a reversal in interest rates, like that's the time to get your shit ready. But you have to prepare for these opportunities now. It means getting your income up, getting your credit history up, getting bankable, and doing research. Pick your 2-3 areas, and just keep yourself like emotionally sound from the psychotic news. I mean, everyone's afraid of nukes falling. Newsflash: if a nuke hits New York City, I don't care. I'm dead.
It's a good point. Yeah, I had to turn the news off, man.
You think this canned food is going to do anything for me? You think this is going to save my life if a nuke drops? No.
It's another good reason to get fucking out of like main cities like Miami and New York and shit, dude.
Probably. I'm going down with the ship. Fuck it.
Dude, I'm getting the hell out of here, man. I love South Florida. I love being outside. I'm a country boy at heart, dude. So like being outside and having something as nice as like the wilderness and just outdoors of South Florida is great. Miami, though, the condos, they can fuck off. They can eat a dick. The people in Miami too. I hope you guys leave. I hope more of you guys leave because, quite frankly, dude, it's like there was this 1960s experiment where a bunch of psychologists put a bunch of rats in a goddamn enclosed environment. Too many of them, and pretty similar to what we're seeing in like pretty much every big city nowadays. The male rats were becoming female rats. The female rats were becoming male rats. There was like fecal matter all over the place. They weren't clean. And I know rats aren't clean animals, but
they groom themselves. They
groom themselves. Their living quarters are not fecal ridden, right? They like to poop on other places, and there was all kinds of like high animosity in these rats, and they were like murdering each other and shit. And I'm like, now where does that? It's like every single fucking large city that I see nowadays. So. My next move is I'm going to be moving slightly out of the area, more to like a more, I guess you could say, quieter place. Not like literally the middle of Podunk,
maybe. Is that a part of Florida that would be like?
I love Ocala, dude. I love Ocala.
Good things about it. I've never visited. Like, have you gone there? Like, you've hung out there?
Yeah, dude. I went camping there 2.5 weeks ago. I spent like 5 days, like literally in the middle of fucking bumfuck Ocala with the Bronco. And dude, I had a hell of a time. The place is, dude, it was hot outside, and they have these like crystal clear springs.
Oh, nice.
Freshwater springs. It's not the ocean, right? Because you'd think it would be ocean water, but it's not. It's literally a spring from the ground, and they're crystal clear blue, like crystalline, beautiful. And if it's hot outside, you get in the spring, it's like fucking cold. It's like ice cold. So you've been running around outside all day long. You just hop into the cold spring and you feel like
that sounds cool, man.
Yeah, dude. But Ocala, Homestead, and Panhandle, Defunica Springs. It's another like Ocala-esque type area in the Panhandle. Those are the 3 places I'm looking at. So that's the deal with that. And yeah, I expect the Feddening is not over yet.
No.
Oh, one more thing, because I was supposed to end the stream 14 minutes ago because I got a webinar I got to go to.
My bad.
But no, you're good, dude. I was having a good time. One more thing, dude. That rumor. Have you heard the rumor why the markets went up on Monday? You heard about that?
I heard something, but I cannot confirm nor deny the accuracy. What was the rumor, if you don't mind me asking?
It's that basically there was some the rumor is that there was a rumor that we didn't hear this rumor, but there was a different rumor. The rumor was actually a rumor of a rumor, but the rumor of the rumor itself was that the Fed, because the ECB was asking them, hey, you guys,
Or the UN. The UN was saying something about that.
Yes, they're like, hey, stop raising rates. You're gonna destroy everything. Do you think that's true? You think it's false? Do you think there's any validity to that at all? What do you think?
Well, see, that's kind of what we were chatting about earlier on this stream, is the challenges between small southern man. This is like the idea struggle between different factions of power and them all not operating in synchronicity.
Yep.
Which shows which is why I'm also simultaneously rather optimistic about the outcomes of things. Will there be more conflict? Maybe we can talk about that maybe on another time, where we're playing geopolitical risk on stream. But like, because people are inherently disorganized and generally stupid and self-serving, the UN wants to do one thing, the ECB wants to do another. If you look at the Bank of England doing like literally the most catastrophic thing, like lowering interest rates and lowering taxes at the same time when their national debts are pretty high and their economy is showing signs of like people think that a recession is the end of the world. It's the end of the world if you were not prepared to not have income for a period of time. It's the end of the world if you didn't take the right steps to put a little bit of your money away, or to have something like a rental property paid off that pays you a dividend, or to have something like a bond or whatever. Like, and I don't like bonds. I hate bonds, but just something that pays you to own it. In
that yield ain't looking too bad right now, though.
No, a 4% yield, dude. People buy buildings in New York City for 4% yields.
I was thinking about getting into some, dude. Like Tuesday, actually. I was like serious. I was like doing all the research I could to do it like the easiest way possible, seriously. And I was like, I don't know. Let's see. Why not?
Well, listen, a 6-month treasury at a 4% yield, if you threw, whatever dollar amount, 10 grand, 100 grand, whatever you feel like throwing, like, okay, that's like quick, easy. Like, okay, that's my internet bill for 2 years. Thanks so much. Thanks. Like, thanks, whatever. I don't have all the answers. Nobody does. Right. So like, I always have to hedge what I say with like, like this isn't me telling anybody what to do, because we like are risk averse, but this is not the end of the world. Low prices and things crashing are opportunities. If you have a high value skill, which like this device ain't going anywhere. Like this MacBook Pro that I'm streaming on, and this like overpriced camera that I just figured out finally. Thank you, Josh. Like, we're using tech to the highest order and the highest scale ever. And you think this is going to stop just because of like banking crises that they're going to print money to fix again? No, like none of this goes away. They're just going to figure out how to do it cheaper. They're going to fire the useless workers. Just don't be useless. Be useful.
Just be smart, bro.
Yeah.
And if you're not smart, just fucking learn and figure it out.
Just fucking learn and hit up these guys on stream right now. We might know a thing or two.
Indeed. Speaking of, we got a can there. I got to get to my webinar, which is now 1 minute. I'm 1 minute late to, but they'll be okay. Speaking of boot camp Rust, the next boot camp is going to be on Rust, guys. I'm not going to sit here and chill it because, quite frankly, I don't give a diddly squat. You want to learn? Come on in. If you don't, then just watch my free YouTube tutorials. That'll help too. Harry, I think you know what I'm going to say. But as always, guys, learn to code, learn to change your own tire, self-custody your hacking crypto. Don't run your brand new truck into the ceiling of your apartment garage. And that is it, guys. See ya.
Peace.